Hi everyone. This is BCA 101 Introduction to Computers. This was Monday of this week. I'm going to do a review of this specific day. We talked about a bit being represented in a computer, a binary digit, 1 or 0. That's where the term bits come from, binary digits. And then we talked about 8 bits. In this case, this happens to represent a capital A using the American Standard Code of Information Interchange, or ASCII, and that gives us a character piece of information. Typically 8 bits gives us a byte of information. And what you'll find when we talk about computers, we use these two terms, and more on that later. So we have data, it's represented by 1s and 0s. For example, the word Mike. There'd be ASCII code that represents each of those characters, which would be a group of 1s and 0s. Could look those up if we wanted to, but we're not going to. Then there's a way to store a date as a number. So this would be called, very often when people say it's text or it's characters, or this might be referred to as numeric. There's a special way of storing those numbers. Okay? For example, we would store this piece of data, my birth date, and then the computer could process that data and give us a piece of information that means something to us. Okay? Age, 61. I haven't been 61 very long, but 61. Okay? So you can think of data as raw facts, and using a process, software. We learned what software basically is. Instructions that gives us information. This is huge. I mean, we do this all the time via the internet in lots of different ways. And we'll talk more about that as we move along. And go to the next slide. Looks a little complicated, but it really isn't. We have this picture up here representing the internet. The internet allows us to connect all different kinds of places to wherever we're at. Whether that's at home, you know, you can be home and connect into the internet. We can connect to Google. We can connect to, this is another example of somebody's home, connected in with DSL. This could be my house, got a little router, got a cable modem, and we're connected in to the internet through an ISP. And our ISP happens to be MediaCom. Okay, that's the company. MediaCom, that we pay for our access to the internet. The college has theirs through the Iowa Communications Network. And we can cover the specifics of that later on. It is important that everybody that connects in is either their own ISP, like Facebook is their own ISP, or they connect to an ISP. Google's probably their own ISP. And we'll learn more about that in the networking section. So let's go over here. We have all this hardware. Okay, we already talked about processor, memory, and storage. We're going to talk a little more detail about that. We have switches that allow us to have lots of computers connected to a network. The switch connects to a multi-layered switch, which, like over here, could be some servers. Allows us to get to the information we need. We're going to talk a little bit more about that on Wednesday. And then we go out, and this happens to be here at the college, a fiber connection between this routing device, and this router. That's also a router. There we go. Now if you're somewhere else on campus, like in another lab, or walking around with your phone and you're connected to the Wi-Fi, then you're going to the internet this way. These are all on campus, so I can draw a little circle around this. This is all on campus, so this is our little cloud. Could make a song like that. Okay, connecting all that stuff. So that's a local area network. And that's the one here at NIACC, a LAN, local area network. Now the fact that we connect that, you can come in here and work on Angel, a server in here. Okay. you can come here and work on Angel and go back out from home. That creates then a WAN. You have some provider, like the internet, some service provider that makes the connection. Now, another thing we talked about here, should be aware of, 3G and 4G, if you're connected to those, some wave in the air, you're connected to some tower, that's actually then connected into the internet. So you're not going through this local area at all, okay? Yours is more like a WAN. That's some kind of a WAN that allows you to connect to the internet using your 3G or 4G from your phone or tablet or whatever device. All right. Then we talked a little bit about like McDonald's. They have an access point at McDonald's. You can walk in with your laptop, connect there. We gave the example, we were driving. Somebody had their phone. They were connected to 4G. We wanted to use our laptop. You still with me? You want to use the laptop. So we made the phone a hotspot, which turned it into an access point, connected here. This connected to 4G. 4G gets to the tower. Tower gets us into the internet. That's how it works. We talked a little bit about base 10. You really don't need to worry about that right now. And then we watched the video about grit. Later on, we'll talk a little more about multitasking. And then there it talked about growth mindset. And that's going to be a topic for Wednesday. Briefly. Plus, we'll continue to talk about networks. That's it for the summary.